Hey guys, it's Lex here with another video. Today I'm a little bit sick, so I'm sorry if you can hear that in my voice. Today I am going to be talking to you guys about how I learned to speak German. This is a question I get all the time. Like, everyone in my family asks me this, my friends ask me this, people in Germany ask me this, even people on YouTube or stuff like that ask me. So I just want to answer this question and also give you some tips about how you can learn German as well. So a little bit of background is that I'm actually German, so I'm a dual citizen of Germany because my dad is German. My dad was born in Canada, but he was also a German citizen, and so through that I'm also German. That being said, my dad didn't speak German to us when we were kids, even though it was his first language, and I didn't really learn any German. I knew like a few words, like I knew Dankeschön, Bitteschön. So basically how I learned how to speak German is that I started using Duolingo, which I don't highly recommend. I think that it's good as a starting point just to gain some vocabulary and that sort of thing, but you can't really progress too far with Duolingo. You kind of max out pretty early in your language learning journey. So for me it was good. I started using Duolingo when I was like 12, 13 probably, and then I used it on and off just until I came here, and then when I was in Germany I used it again on and off. But I don't highly recommend it. I think it's okay as a starting point, but you just can't learn that much from it, in my opinion. And then when I originally moved to Germany, it was because I was going to be part of an international school. So what was really cool was that the school was translated everything from German to English or English to German. And instead of just tuning out the German, I really actively listened for the words and started to pick out words that I heard, and I would write down words that I heard in the lectures. I would write them down, and then I would ask my German friends what they meant, or I would Google it or stuff like that. And like different phrases that I heard often, I would write those down as well. And actually I had a journal, which is this one right here, and I started writing in this when I first got to Germany. And basically the first sentence says, Ich muss Deutsch, it says, Ich muss Deutsche lernen, but actually it's, Ich muss Deutsch lernen, and it's also spelt wrong. This is so funny. But anyways, I wrote down right here is essential phrases in German and in English, and there's stuff like, hello, I'm Alexis, I come from Canada. And then right here I have a song translated into English, which is 10,000 Reasons. It's a Christian worship song. We used to sing this in my school in German and in English, so I wrote that down. And I actually underlined all the words that I couldn't understand. I don't know if you guys could see that, but I underlined all words that I didn't know, and then I Googled them to figure out what they meant. Lots of different things in here. I think this is really important to have like a journal where you just write things down, especially for me. Like, I'm the kind of learner who I know that if I hear something and I write it down, I have a way better time remembering it. I also did this on my phone. I totally forgot about that. I have like a note on my phone where I'd write down things that I heard just out and about. But here I have, like, again, the der, die, das, all the endings, and I have all the numbers. This is the alphabet and how to say it, and then all the months of the year again. And then I have, on this side, I have German pairs is what I called this, and it's basically things like groß, klein, schwarz, weiß, langweilig, interessant. And that really helped my vocabulary. These are mostly adjectives, and that just helped me to gain some more vocabulary by writing those down. So I'm happy I wrote that. I think this is like the most common 50 verbs or something in German. And I just wrote those all out in the perfect form, and then wrote the English beside it in blue. And oh, here I have the Our Father prayer written out in German, because we always said it in my church, and I always would be like, Our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name, and I wanted to learn it in German. And then I have basically the basic verb conjugation. Wollen, sollen, können, and müssen are all here, and it's just the conjugations. There's actually way more in here than I thought there is, so I apologize. This is the genders with the cases. and then a few rules. But yeah, I'm still not the best with cases. I've learned like situations in which you have to use it and then I use it, but sometimes I think like I could be using a different case, but I'm not. But honestly, a piece of advice is not to get too caught up in learning the different cases and learning the genders. It's better to just start speaking and making mistakes, because your friends will help you or the people you're around will help you and correct you. So I think it's better to just start speaking and making mistakes, as long as you don't make the same mistake over and over and over again. The next thing I did was I asked a ton of questions. I had lots of German friends that were in my school that I was doing, and I'm pretty sure I annoyed them a ton, because after every lecture I would just be like, oh, what does that mean? What does that mean? Or like we would be driving and I'd be like, how do you say that Munich is not far away? And then they would teach me that phrase. And I think I annoyed them, but also I think they were happy to help, and it helped me so much to be able to ask questions. And I still do this because my boyfriend is German. It's really nice. If I don't understand something or I don't understand why you say something, I just always ask him and he always helps me. And usually if I ask a question and then I hear the answer, it helps me to remember. And I also Google things a lot. Like if I have a conversation with someone and they say a word that I don't know, usually I understand based on context, but if I don't know the specific word, I'll just like Google it, and then, you know, that also works if you don't have someone who you would be able to ask. Another thing that I did was watch German TV shows and movies, or change the language in the shows that you're watching to German with either using the subtitles or using the dialogue. I think changing the dialogue is better because then you hear it and your ear will get accustomed to how German is supposed to sound, so that when you go to speak, your accent will be better as well. One movie that I watched that I want to recommend is called Willkommen bei den Hartmanns. It's basically a movie, it's filmed in Munich, and it's a movie about a German family who takes in a refugee to live with them. And the reason why I love this movie is because, first of all, it's like current events, like this is an ongoing thing in Germany that they kind of like shed some light on what it's like between the German culture and having so many refugees coming into Germany now. And also the language that's used is fairly easy to understand because the refugee who's speaking German doesn't speak German that well. So love that movie, highly recommend watching it. Another thing which may be surprising is Pinterest. So I made a Pinterest board and I have tons of different things posted on there which are all about learning German. My Pinterest is always linked down below, so you guys can follow my German board if you want to. But different things, like basically the same things as what I've written down in my journal. So der, die, das tables, and like German verbs, different pronouns. It's a really good way to have like different tables, or they have tons of things that are like how to say all the different numbers or how to say, I don't know, everything like that. I think it's a really good resource. Another thing is a podcast that I found, which is actually called Coffee Break German. I listened to it on SoundCloud, I believe, and it's an amazing podcast. It's between a German native speaker and then an Irish man, I believe, and he's learning how to speak German, and there's like, they have different sections for learning the grammar that they're talking about, learning just basic phrases, but they're like 15-minute long episodes. And what I would do while I was listening to it was I would have my notes open and I would write notes about what they were saying and like follow along with them, and that really helped me. I think that was one of the things that really like got my confidence up as well. The next thing is to take a German course. So I've taken 2 German courses. The first one was through Rosetta Stone, which I think cost around $150. The reason why I wanted to do Rosetta Stone was that I heard really good things about it from other people who have learned German through it. And I also used Rosetta Stone in high school for my Spanish class, so I was already familiar with it. And so I just went ahead and paid the $150, and I really, really loved it. It was a really good course. I think it's really well done. If you don't live in Germany, or you don't want to go to a course, or you don't have time or whatever, do Rosetta Stone. It's really worth it. It's just a really good thing. You can do it actually on your phone or on your computer, anything, so it's really easy to just like do it on your phone on the train to work or whatever you do. And then I took another course through the VHS, which is the Volkshochschule yeah, in Germany, and I have to say I didn't enjoy this course that much. The one thing that was good about it was that I was getting out for an hour every week and speaking only German, but I had other things like that already that I was doing where I only spoke German, so it wasn't really worth it to me. It was quite expensive. I think it was like around 150 euros as well, maybe 200 even. But I didn't learn too much from it, and I took the B1 course. I hadn't taken any course before that, but I just went into the B1 because I felt like that was the level I was at, and I think I was right. Like, I think that I took the right level, but it just wasn't challenging enough for me in what I needed to be challenged in. Like, I would like to learn more about the grammar, where we didn't really learn anything about grammar. We learned mostly like conversational things, which was my strength, and my weakness was grammar. So I really wanted to learn more about grammar. They didn't teach that, so for me it wasn't really worth it, but totally understand how it can be worth it for some people. One big tip that I would say is really important is to try to avoid speaking Denglish or a mix of German and English. I did this a lot when I started. I would like just throw in like, oh, du bist voll mad at me, or something like that. I just would like switch halfway through the sentence, and that actually is really damaging. I mean, it's okay when you're speaking with someone who understands both. I think it's way better to embrace speaking in German, or at least ask wie heißt das, and then you can say your sentence in German. It's better to learn how to switch your mind to thinking in German and only in German, and then thinking in English and only in English. And that's a skill that I have learned, which is when I'm in a situation where I only need to speak German, I focus only on German and I think only in German. And I've done this for a long time. Even when I couldn't speak that much German, I would block out English words and I would just only think about what I knew in German. My last tip for you guys is to practice. I know that this is said all the time. Everybody knows that you should practice the language, but you will lose anything you learn if you don't practice. And the way that I started doing this was, like I said earlier, I put myself in situations where I knew no one was going to speak English, and I only spoke German in them. So I would go to church, which was only in German. I would go to youth group, which was only in German. And what I ended up doing with my boyfriend was we would have like weekends in German, and we wouldn't be able to speak English all weekend, and we would just speak with each other in German, and things like that really help. And another big thing is just to not be afraid to make mistakes. That is how you learn, by making mistakes. And I know this was huge for me when I first started speaking German, was like I didn't want to make any mistakes because I didn't want people to think badly of me. It's my second language, so of course I'm not perfect, of course I make mistakes, and you really just have to embrace that and just keep on going. And yeah, that's basically how I learned how to speak German. I hope you guys enjoyed this video about me talking about how I learned to speak German. If you would like me to make a video speaking in German, I would definitely be open to that. That would be super cool. Leave me a comment down below if you guys would be interested in that. But I will see you guys next time.